Start recording. Okay, hello. I'm just going to do a quick tutorial on how to go through and make the assignment. And I'll pull out a few points as we do it. Hopefully it won't take too long. And hopefully it'll reinforce what you've learned in the tutorials. Okay, so here we are. Start by creating our document. And let's call it... So you don't have to call it that. You can call it anything you like. Just keep it polite. Bear in mind you will be sharing this with me. All right. So here we are. So our workflow, as I hope you've picked up through the tutorials, our workflow for doing 3D modeling is we sketch, we do something, we sketch, we do something, we sketch, we do something. Okay. And we've got sort of further editing features there and other various things. Okay, so we sketch and do something. So let's start off. We've got a blank piece of paper, so let's start off by doing a sketch. The first thing it asks for is select a sketch plane. So that's the piece of paper that we're going to be working on. So let's go for the front. I can then right click and view normal to sketch plane, or I can just press the letter N on my keyboard. And that gets us a nice flat piece of paper to work on. So I'm going to start. Actually, we need to actually know what we're doing, don't we? So shall we just pause for a second? Can I pause? Where's the pause button gone? Why can't I pause anymore? Oh, never mind, we'll carry on. So we need to know what we're doing. Well, we're drawing that vice, and you've got access to that. So let's just open that up and have a look at that vice. I'm just going to open that up from there. So this has been shared with you all. If you don't have access to this, please make sure you let me know. So this is what we're doing. I'll just spin that around. I'm just holding down the right mouse button there. If you hold down the middle mouse button, you scroll wheel, you can pan, and of course you can zoom in and out. All right. And down at the bottom here, we've got a tab for vice body, and then we've got the drawing. So we're going to be running off the drawing. We're just using the 3D model to give us an idea of what it looks like. Okay. So that's what we're working from. And I'll pick up points from this as we go. So we know it's 125 long, and it's 50 wide, and it's 50 high, because these are two views of the same. These are three views, in fact, of the same part. So it's 50 high, 125 long, and 50 wide. So let's get that started then. So let's start by drawing a rectangle, and we're locking to that corner. And we draw it up, and then we can just type 50, press enter, and type 50. Oh no, I made a mistake. I pressed the wrong button. How do I set the height? Well, we go to the dimension button, and then we use the dimension there. And if I set that to 50, you should see that just twitch up there. We use the dimensions to drive the shape. Yeah, so you can see it changes to match the dimension. Okay, so we're going to put that down to 50. Now I'm going to leave the sketch mode. Okay, now people keep saying it's not sketch mode. Well, if you click sketch and then you hit escape or whatever, and you see this to like you're not in sketch mode. If you start a sketch and you need to go back to edit, don't just keep creating sketches. Go back to the one you've made right there and simply double click, and then you can go back and edit it. And you can see it says sketch there. We're in sketch mode, and we've got the sketch toolbar. Okay, these are all sketch commands. Okay, we've got drawing commands here. We've got editing commands here. There's the dimension command, and then we've got the constraints command. Okay, and hopefully you've come across those a little bit in the tutorials, because they're really useful and really worth getting your head around. And I'll touch on those again a little bit as we go along. So anyway, I've not made any changes, so I'm just going to hit the cross there. Right, hold down the right mouse button, give it a bit of a spin, and then I'm going to new, because we can't add anything because we've not got anything to add to. Can't remove it, so we're starting with a new part. Okay. It says faces and sketch regions to extrude, so I can select that, or I can select it here. You see it highlights it as I hover over it on the side there. Okay. But we know from the drawing it's 125. So I'm just going to set that 125. I'm going to hit tick. And there we go. That's looking good. So that's the first thing that we've done. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to do the middle cut. So let me just show you what I mean by that. I'm going to take out this section here. What does that look like on the vice body? That looks like this big space here. So we're going to take that out. As I think I've said before, when I was learning to do this, I was told, to be thinking about how you're going to manufacture this, and in this case, this isn't a very big part, just over just 12.5 centimeters long. So we'd probably make this part out of solid steel bar, and then we'd cut out the material afterwards. We'd take it out with a milling machine. So thinking about that, each cut that we do, each remove that we do here should relate to a machining operation. Okay, so again, sketch. Okay, and I'm going to sketch on the side there. N, normal to sketch plane. And I'm going to do another corner to corner rectangle. You'll notice that they've got these little arrows here which are drop downs and give you different options for things. Okay, well, I'm just going to click there for corner to corner rectangle. Zoom in a bit so we can see what's going on. Now you'll see, he says, you'll see there that we've got that little T angle thing icon. There it's gone. It's back. It's gone. It's back. That little icon that appears next to the cursor, and that's this here, and that's called coincident. And that means that we're locking the corner of our rectangle to the top line of our model. Okay, in this instance, coincident just means we're sticking two things together. Okay, right. So we've done that. Now you'll see that the top line is black. I'm just pressing escape there to go. You'll see the top line is black because I can't move that top line. I can't move it up or down. Okay. You'll see all my other lines are blue. All right. So, and that means I can move them. I can move that like that, and I can move that like that. Okay. So what do we need? Ideally, we want all our lines black because that means that our sketch is constrained. It's defined. We know everything about it. So let's flick back to our drawing. And our drawing tells us that this cut is from 20 to 110. So it's 90 long. And well, it doesn't tell us here how deep it is, but we can see that it's on a line with those dotted lines there. What do those dotted lines represent? Those dotted lines represent hidden detail. And if we just flick back, yeah, the detail that they're hiding is this slot here, this hole going all the way. Yeah. So obviously if we look at it from the side, we can't see that, but we can show it with hidden detail. There we go. There's our hidden detail back. Okay. So if we flick back to here, and that tells us then that hidden detail line is at the same place as that line here. So it must be the same height or depth. So, oh, that's an odd place to have that dimension. That dimension says it's 20. That's 20 there. I'm going to change that, in fact. I'm going to change that right now, and hopefully, because I'm sharing this with you, that should change the. There we go. So that's 20. That should change the model. That should change it when you view it as well. So that's 20 from there to there. That tells us that. So that means it must be 30 from the top down. Okay. So let's flick back to our part and let's dimension that. So we're going to use the dimension button there. I'm just selecting that, and we said it was 30, so we just type that in. And you'll notice now that the bottom line has gone black because we've constrained that bottom line. Yeah, I can't move that bottom line up or down. But what you'll notice is I've got the two vertical lines of blue, so I can still move those. Yeah, we've not constrained those. Okay, so looking back at our drawing, we'll see that this edge was 20 away from here, so we just click both of those, and that allows us to do that. And we said it was 90 long. So we could either go from there to there at 110 like it is in the drawing, or we could select that line for a dimension at 90. I'll do both of those. I'll start with this one and I'll delete it. So we just click that dimension button. We'll click that one first and then that one. And you see, so we can set that at 90. Yeah, or set that at 110, sorry, like it is in the drawing. Or we can just select this bottom line and call it 90. Okay, and then what we'll see then is that everything is dimensioned. And for Onshape to do anything, we need to have a closed shape. You know, we can't have an open shape for Onshape to then do cutting or extruding, because how would it know what the remaining side was? Okay, so I'm going to tick that there. Okay, so we'll give it a bit of three-dimensionalness. Again, we go to extrude, faces and sketch regions to extrude. I'm just going to click that there. Obviously we don't want to add, we want to remove. And I'm going to drop down here, I'm going to go up to next face. No, I'm not. Up to face. Oh, up to face. And we can select the face that it goes up to. There we are. Okay, so there we are. That's that done nicely. Okay, so the next thing that we want to do, I'm going to do that step cut. I'm going to do, he says, where's it gone? I'm going to do this part here. I'm going to do this cut here. Yeah, which is that there. I'm going to take all that out. Okay, so let's go back. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to draw another sketch. Sketch, do, sketch, do. Again, N, normal to sketch plane. Okay, I'm just going to very quickly do the rough shape. Now you can see there, that's constrained as a vertical line. That's constrained as a horizontal line. That's constrained perpendicular at right angles to the last line I drew. Again, we're constrained as a horizontal line. Now it's automatically picked up, it's guessed that I want that point to be in line with the point I've drawn previously. Okay, so we can do that there, we bring that down, and then we close that line. We close that, so we've got a full shape there. Okay, now we're just going to do a construction line. Hopefully you did this in the... and can you see how as I'm moving it along, that's fixing it to the bottom line, and then it changes, that little icon changes, and that's a midpoint. So I'm going to tie this construction line to the midpoint. I'm going to make sure it's vertical. You can see that's black, and we've got a little blue dot at the end there, which means we can move that up and down, but that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter because it's just a construction line. And now I'm going to use the symmetric command. Okay, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to pick that, my center line, and that end. And can you see it made it symmetrical? That center line and that end. Okay, so now we've got something that's symmetrical about this center line. So if we just flick back to our drawing, you'll see it's 15 about the center and 25 about the center. So we'll drive that again with our dimensions. So from there we click the first line and the second line, and that was 25, and then we collect that. And you know, don't worry if it starts to put a dimension up. You just select your second line that you want, and can you see it change there? Okay, 15. So now our vertical lines are black, but our horizontal lines are still blue because we can still move our horizontal lines, something like that. Yeah. So we need to constrain our horizontal lines. So let's flick back to our drawing, and that's 10 and 20 high. So I'm going to click that line there, 10, and I'm going to go from that point to that point, and that's going to be 20. And there we are. Now everything's black, everything's constrained, everything is sorted. Okay, so we're going to hit the tick box there. Right, so now what we want to do, we want to do another extrude and a remove, and we're going to select that sketch, and we're going to run that through all. So that's going to go through everything. And there we go. That's it done. Okay, so now we're going to put the hole on. And to do the hole, all we need is a point that we want that hole at. So again, we're going to go back to the sketch. Now, I'm just going to check my drawing. Which side does the hole go on? Well, that's 20. So that's 20. That's good. That's the narrower side, isn't it? So the hole goes through the narrower side. So we've checked our drawing, so we're going to put the hole through here. So I'm going to sketch on this plane because then when I tell Onshape to do the hole through everything, it starts there and goes out. If I do the sketch on this plane, it starts there and it'll go through this as well. It'll go through everything. We don't want it through this side, we just want it through this side. And we can tell that on the drawing because there's our hidden detail. It just goes through one side. There's no hidden detail there of that line. Okay. So we're just going to make that point first. Okay, so we've said that. N, normal to sketch plane. So we're flat on. I'm going to choose a point, and I'm going to just bring that point out. Can you see there? I'm just selecting the midpoint of that line, and that dotted line tells me that that will stay in line there. So I've selected my point. So all I have to do now is define this vertically. So just take a dimension from the bottom to there. Okay, I'm just going to leave that as it is. I'm going to go back. I'm going to check what dimension the hole was, and the hole is not dimensioned. How very remiss of me. Shall we dimension the hole? let's dimension the hole. And again, this should pop up on your drawing. There we are, the hole is 35. Okay, so let's go back and let's change that to 35. So we've put that point at 35. You could draw a circle with the centre at 35 as well. That's also a viable solution. Okay, so there's our hole at 35, and you can see it's just there, that point. So now we use the hole wizard. Okay, now the hole wizard has lots of different options. Okay, sketch points to place the hole. I'm just going to place that point there. Okay. We can have a counter bore. So I'm going to show us what's it doing. So can you see there the merge scope box has gone red? And sometimes it seems to forget what it's making a hole through. Which seems a bit silly when you've only got one part, but in Onshape you can do many parts within the same design area. And sometimes you can specify which of those parts you put the hole through. So we're just going to click Merge Scope. I'm just going to click select our original part there. Right. So can you see there we chose a counter bore hole. So that's got a hole with straight sides. I'm sure I've said all this before. Okay. A countersink has sloped or tapered sides, and that lets different types of screws just sit flush with the surface. We don't want that, we just want a simple hole. Okay, we're going to say a through hole. Blind lets us specify the depth, and blinding last lets us specify the depth in the last section. Okay, again, I think you should have picked that up through one of the tutorial videos, but we're going to go through. We are using the metric system, so we don't want ANSI, we don't want DIN, we don't want PEM, we want ISO, International Standard. And then we've got clearance, tapped and drilled. Okay, so when we want to make a screw thread in a hole, we drill the hole smaller than the screw thread that we want, and then we cut the screw thread out into the material. Okay, so a clearance would mean that you've drilled the hole essentially too big, so that the screw would just fall through. The drill size is the hole that we drill to then tap it. Yeah, where are we? Yeah, tapped, clearance and drilled. So we're looking for a tapped hole. Okay, so that means we want to put a screw thread through it. So, but how do we know? I'm telling you, I'm jumping the gun here. I'm telling you that it's a screw thread. How do we know? There are several ways that we can find out. This split in this outside circle tells us that there's a screw thread here. Okay, M12, the M instantly tells us that it's a metric screw thread, 12 millimeters diameter, and 1.25 is the distance millimeters. So that's 1.25 millimeters distance between each thread that goes around, between each zigzag, if you like. And this here is the diameter of the hole that we drill before we then cut the screw thread out into the material. Okay, so but fortunately Onshape takes care of all that for us. Yeah, we're using the hole wizard. We select that. We go from the pitch that we're told, 1.25. Okay, so that's the diameter that we drill, and we want a thread that goes all the way through this part. Okay, so we just hit tick. Now it doesn't look any different. When we get to the drawing, Onshape will know that this is a threaded hole, but it doesn't look any different. So what we can do, just for the look of the thing, is we can go here to Helix. We can select that. And you can tweak that if you like, but that's just a visual effect, so that in 6 months' time, when we come back to this, or when somebody else comes back to it, they can look like, there's a screw thread in that hole. Okay, because it doesn't show that up. Okay, so that's the screw thread. What else do we need to do? We need to put a chamfer on, and that's really easy. We just go to chamfer. Our drawing tells us it is a... This is very sloppy. Our drawing doesn't tell us anything, does it? Let's put another dimension on. What's our... We've got a chamfer dimension here. Chamfer dimension. There we go. Yes, chamfer dimension. Right, there we are. Okay, that says 45 degrees by 5 millimeters. That tells us that... What does it tell us? It tells us that from there to there is 5 millimeters, and from there to there is 5 millimeters. It does not tell us that this line here is 5 millimeters. Yeah, it means that from there to there is 5 millimeters in front. So the vertical and the horizontal are 5 millimeters, and the angle is 45 degrees. Okay, So there we are, equal distance, so that's obvious, that's a 45-degree angle, and 5mm. Okay, so all we have to do is choose the corner, and there we go. Right, so we're almost there, What's left to do? Okay, we need to put this slot in, so let's have a look at what that slot looks like. Okay, it doesn't go all the way through, it's just here. So let's go back to the drawing to see what we need to do for that. So it starts at 12, it goes up to 15, so that's obviously 3mm wide, starts at 37.5 and goes to 87.5. Okay, so I'm just going to use the dimensions as they're given here to drive this rectangle in my drawing. Okay, so sketch once more, pick a surface. Okay, I'm going to go for a rectangle, I'm going to press N for normal so we get that nice drawing plane. There we go, obviously that's completely the wrong size, but I'm going to drive this by the dimensions. So I'm going to do a dimension from there to there. Okay, and what did we say that was? We said that was 12 and then it's 15, so 12. Okay, and then I'm going to do a dimension from there to there. And just by doing the dimensions, we're controlling the shape. Okay, so from here to here is 37.5. So again, I'm just going to click that line and that line, still in the dimension command, 37.5. Okay, and our final dimension was 87.5. Okay, so there to there is 87.5. Okay, and there we are, we've fully defined it. We can see it's black, we can't move it anywhere. That's fully constrained. So we hit the tick button. Once more, we go to extrude, we hit remove, we choose our part, and then we can say, oopsie daisy, we can say up to next face, and it asks us what face we want to go to, and that's the face we want to go to. Okay, and then we say tick, and there we are. That's everything done on the modelling side. I'll put together a video shortly that takes us through how to then do the drawing for this. All right, thank you very much.